One plant or 100. Propagation is going to be your best bet for easily and affordably growing your houseplant collection. Today I'm going to share with you 3 of my tried and true methods for propagating snake plants: division, water, and soil. You're not going to want to miss this, guys, so stay tuned. The plant that I'm propagating today is the snake plant or SANSEVIERIA that has been in my bedroom for quite some time. It's grown up pretty big, and it's just time for me to repot it and propagate it and make some baby SANSEVIERIAs from this mother. So let me go ahead and show you what this plant looks like, and then I'll go ahead and jump into the 3 methods that I'll be using for propagation. This is the mother plant. As you can see, it's a very tall and lean plant. But let me show you why this plant needs propagation. In one of my previous videos, which I'll link for you, I showed you guys that we had this one leaf that was just leaning over to the side. It was really heavy, and it was starting to brown. This is the perfect leaf for me to propagate because it's not aesthetically pleasing to this plant anymore. And if I don't propagate it and get rid of this leaf here, it probably will end up dying off. I also want to show you that it has some babies that have grown up in here, which are perfect for division, as you can see here. And let me take you guys around this way so that you can see the other one that I will be dividing here. And this is just ready to come out. It's its own little plant that has sprouted and grown up from this mom. So this is the plant here that is going to be propagated, and once I have propagated this plant using water, soil, and division, then I will take the mother plant and place the mother plant into another pot off camera. So I'm beginning with water propagation to propagate this snake plant. And what I've used is just room temperature or baby bath water warm water in a clean and disinfected mason jar. I'm going to go ahead and find the leaf that I want to use for this type of propagation. And what I'm doing is just loosening it up from the soil. I'm not cutting this plant at the root. I'm going to be cutting it at the base of the soil. So I'm taking my time and loosening it up so that once I reach in with my shears, I'm sure that I'm only cutting that leaf and I'm not causing any damage to the surrounding leaves of this SANSEVIERIA. So you see my fingers, I'm just digging in and loosening up that soil. I'm making sure that that leaf is ready to be cut. And here I'm grabbing my shears. I'm going to go ahead and give it a nice clean cut, as clean as possible. It might be a little rough depending on the angle that I'm going in. And as you can see, I've gone ahead and cut it off. There's a little bit of soil on it. It's cut at an angle because of how I placed the shears into the pot to clip the plant. And now I'm just cleaning up the end just a little bit before placing it into the water so that it can begin the process of growing roots. With the water propagation method, I don't use any rooting powder or even allow it to callus over. I just cut it, and as it's fresh, I drop it right into the water. And that's it. I'll change this water out once every 7 to 10 days when I water all of the other plants in my home. And after about 6 months or so, I will begin to see roots. Once I see those roots, then I can go ahead and plop it into some soil. For the next method of propagation, I'm going to go ahead and use the soil propagation method. Now with this, as I did with the water propagation, I'm taking the leaf and I'm clipping it close to the base of the soil, as close as I can possibly get it with a clean pair of shears. Once I get this cut, what you'll see me do is begin to cut the leaf into equally sized sections. It's a pretty long leaf, so I'm guessing I'm probably going to get about 8 to 10 cuts from this. I'm going to be cutting in 2 to 3 inch sections, and once I cut, I'm going to allow it to fall right onto the paper towel, and the cut ends I face away from me so that I know what end to place into the soil. And I'm just going to do this all the way up the leaf. 2 to 3 inch sections all the way up the leaf. And then once those sections are cut, they are going to be placed into my soil mixture. The mixture of soil I have here is an organic potting soil mixed with vermiculite, just to allow for extra aeration and proper drainage of the soil. When propagating with soil, you want to make sure that your soil drains efficiently so that you do not deal with any plants suffocating and stunting the growth of the roots, or once the roots do begin to sprout, root rot. Now this section here, I'm not going to be using for the propagation. I am just cutting it in equal sections, but where it's browning and has the holes in the leaf, those two portions will not be used to propagate, but I will be using all of the others. And what you see me is just turning it around so that all of my cut ends are facing in one direction, so I know exactly how to place the leaves into the soil. And there you go. That's what I've cut. That's my soil into a clean pot with my potting soil and vermiculite mixture. See if I can get a better angle here so you guys can see everything. And what I'm going to do is begin taking the cuts from the first cut that I made from the base of the soil and working my way to the last cut, which would be the tip of that leaf. And I'm placing them in cut sides down. No rhyme or reason to how they're being placed into the soil. I'm just placing them in, making sure they all have just a little bit of room around them for those roots to begin sprouting and growing. Now, using the soil method, it will take some time. This, for me, takes about 3 to 4 months before I begin to see those little baby roots sprouting up. And once I see them, what I'll do is I'll take those cuts out. I will cut them down as close to those roots that have grown as possible. And then I will bury those cuts in this soil and allow the new plant to grow and sprout from there. Once those roots are there and it's been cut down, I can probably expect to see the new leaves coming up out of the soil in about 4 months past that time frame. So to get a new plant, all in all, is going to be about 7 months. Those sections there, no, are being tossed away. I'm not using those to propagate. And there you have the soil method of propagation. Let me let you guys get a closer look so you can actually see what I've done. The soil has already been moistened. The vermiculite is already mixed in. And the plants have been placed in from cut end to tip. And they're ready to go. So my favorite method of propagation is the final method that I'm going to show you, which is the division method. And this is where you pull apart one of these smaller bunches of leaves that have grown up from the mother plant, and you go ahead and plant them into soil with the root attached. What I'm doing here is looking for the smaller plant that I am going to divide from the root ball, and I'm going to add it into a fresh pot of soil. So as you see there, that is the baby that has grown, and it's attached to one of the leaves of the mother plant, which is a good size. It's got some good height to it. So here I'm going to go ahead and take my fingers and dig down into the soil. And for this one, I want to go down until I feel that root ball, and I want to loosen it with my fingers and just go ahead and pull that whole baby plant attached to one of the mother leaf stems and the root out, completely divided and separated. And there, as you can see, that is the mother leaf and the baby that has grown up and the roots. Now, I could possibly separate the baby from the mother here, but as you can see, it's very, very, very tight, and I don't want to ruin the root. The roots of Sansevierias are very fat. They remind me of big, juicy earthworms because they're so fat. And that's the way they're supposed to look. As I clean away the soil, you get to see how healthy those roots are. And that's exactly what you want when you're dividing a Sansevieria. You want a big, healthy root that you can take and plant or pot into some fresh soil. Now, that little one that you see there in the blue pot, that came from another Sansevieria over the weekend. And what I'm going to do is add this plant here, or this baby plant, I'm going to add it into this pot with the little baby that's already in there. So what you see me doing is just loosening it up so I can pull it out, and I'll show you the root. It's got a nice healthy root on it. So I'm going to pair the two of them together, and then I'm going to go ahead and pop it right on into that soil. I'm digging a nice deep hole here because I want those roots to be buried in the soil. So I'm digging a nice deep hole in the soil, which as you can see is very moist. You want your soil to be moist when you're propagating. So I'm digging that hole, and now I'm going to go ahead and stick in the two parts of the plant that I've divided, and make sure that those roots are nicely covered by the soil. And then you're just going to go ahead and pack that soil around and give that little baby plant a little bit of structure. We want it to be able to stand up in the pot as the roots take hold and begin to grow. So what I'm doing, I'm just packing the soil down around, brushing some of the soil off of the plant, and then cleaning up the pot a little bit. If you have one of those little craft brushes, that would be great to brush away some of the soil, but I don't have one, so I just had to use my fingers and improvise to make it happen. And there you see, that's what we look like. This new baby plant is instantaneous. Unlike the other methods of water and soil where you have to wait for roots, dividing is the easiest way for you to get a new plant without having to spend a dime. And this pot is perfect. This is about a 3.5-inch pot. And as you can see, I've got a great mess there. All right, guys, so mess is all cleaned up. These are the three methods that I've used for propagation: division, water, and soil. All three will give me beautiful snake plants easily and affordably. The soil method was cut and dipped into the soil, and that will allow it to grow up over time. The water method, the leaf was just cut at the base, it was cleaned up, and it was dropped into room temperature water into a clean and disinfected mason jar. And then the division method was simply dividing the plant from the root and plopping it into some fresh potting soil and allowing it to take hold. And this mother plant here is still looking happy and healthy, and this plant will be repotted into a ceramic pot off camera. That's it, guys. I'm all done propagating this mama plant. I'm super excited about the plant babies that are on the way. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to give it a thumbs up, share, subscribe, and be sure to comment. Let me know what you liked about the video, what methods of snake plant propagation you've used, and which ones have been successful for you. You guys have an awesome day. Remember to take care of you, smile, and love your plants. I'll see you in my next video. Peace.